Welcome everybody. My name's Irene. I'm teaching Feldenkrais with the Northwest Parkinson's Foundation. We're going to continue in a series of a couple voice lessons that we started last week. They're good for posture and balance as well as voice, and also good for swallowing, which sometimes becomes a problem later for people in the Parkinson's journey, and this is good prevention for preventing those problems later. The series of voice lessons that I'm teaching was developed by one of the trainers who I studied Feldenkrais with, a man named Richard Corbet, who is a singer, and he developed these lessons for singers, and they're wonderful for all of us. So I just want to acknowledge his role in the creation of these lessons. Alrighty, so I'd like everybody, I'm going to mute everybody and go ahead and say the words. There's a chat that probably popped up on your screen, but the words are, pick up a pack of pretty petunias. So as you say it a couple times, and notice, is it easy to say? Do the words flow out smoothly? Is it a little choppy as you say it? And then I'm going to have you wait just a sec, but say it louder. And as you say it louder, notice, what do you do in your face and in your chest and in your body in order to say it louder? And louder, louder can be a little louder, medium louder, a lot louder. How much louder do you have to say it before you start to really feel a strain? Like if you did it that louder, your voice would be tired. And we played Tuesday with the resonance in your vocal cords. Do you feel resonance as you say this sentence? Pick a pack of pretty petunias. And then say it again, this time noticing the flow of your breath as you say it. So when we breathe and we exhale, our chest has to compress a little bit, and feel where you feel as you feel your chest moving as the words come out of you. Okay. Good. That'll just be a measurement move, and then we'll see how it feels at the end. And notice how you're sitting on your sit bones. So come to the front of your chair where you can be in that place that isn't going forward and isn't going backwards. So if you take yourself a little forward and a little backward, and then do that slower and slower like a pendulum running out of steam until you find that place where you're in the middle. And close your eyes so you can sense better, and notice if you have more weight on one sit bone than the other. And notice your feet. Are your knees together or are they wide apart? Does one foot press harder into the ground than the other? And just noticing any asymmetries in yourself this morning. And keeping your eyes closed, begin to pay attention to the sensations in your face. What sensations do your lips provide you? How about your right cheek, between the right corner of your mouth to your right ear? What's the tension like in that, if there was a string between the right corner of your mouth and your right ear? And the sensations around your right eye and your right temple. your right eyebrow. If you trace a line from your right eyebrow to your right ear, is there tension on that path? What does it feel like to imagine tracing that line? And trace around your hairline on the right side, or your previous hairline on the right side. So going up to your temple and then tracing down to your ear. And then just sit quietly for a moment and notice if there's different sensations in the right side of your face. If just by paying attention to the right side, it might feel a little lower or softer or different somehow. And now the left side, imagine that you were tracing with a finger around your left eye, around the ridge of bone that surrounds your eye. And notice, did you trace clockwise or counterclockwise? Try going around your left eye in the other direction. And then from the outside corner of your eye, draw a line to your ear and feel what the tension is like in that line. And then around your hairline on the left side, starting up in the middle where right above your nose, where the hairline was or is, and go down the side of your face. And notice, how do the two sides of your face compare? Was one side easier to sense than the other? And the purpose of these questions is to aim your attention so that these are things you begin to notice. And the looking is always more important than the finding the answers. Just the trying to sense is how your brain builds the connection and strengthens the connection between the sensory nerves in your face and your sensory cortex. And the more it can sense, the more options are possible in the movements. Okay. Now, very gently and still with your eyes closed, roll your head a little bit to the left. Like, just think about turning your head as if you wanted to look over your left shoulder, just a tiny amount, like a 1/4 inch of going in that direction. And see, what do you sense in your rib cage? Is there a way that even a tiny motion of turning your head to the left turns your sternum a little to the left, turns your ribs a little to the left? Is there any difference in pressure on your sit bones as you turn your head just a little to the left? Does your breathing change when you turn your head? Do you hold your breath or inhale or exhale? And most of us, when we think about our ribs, we tend to think about the front of the ribs. As you turn your head to the left, what are the back of your ribs doing? Can you sense, as the ribs turn a little to the left, that behind you on the left side, they push your spine a little bit, and that pushes the ribs on the right to come around and wrap around forward. And the ribs on your side, when you turn a little to the left, the ribs on the left side travel backwards a little, and the ribs on the right side travel forward a little bit. And then take your head and go a little bit to the right to begin to look over the right shoulder. Just enough, just that first 1/2 inch or inch, where even a tiny movement, you feel that your sternum can turn a little to the right. And it may be a little harder to go to the right, or it may be a little easier than the left. And begin to pay attention to the direction the ribs in the front move, and the ribs in the back going the opposite way. And then the ribs on the two sides, the ribs on your right wrapping around toward the back of you, and the ribs on the left wrapping around to the front of you. So you could visualize this whole roundness of the rib cage, and you could imagine somebody had their hands gently on your sides and just turned your ribs a little bit to the right, helping your head move to the right. And they could hold your ribs on the side and take that whole structure of you and move a little to the left. And then bring your head back to the middle and sense your breath as you inhale. See if you can feel your breath pressing against the ribs in the back and the front and the sides. And then pause for a moment, but open your eyes. Stop sensing so intensely. Need a break from thinking for a moment. So for how many of you is it pouring where you are this morning? Those of you I'm hoping the rain stops today, but it's been a wet morning here. Okay, so now we're gonna do a lot of breathing in and out through our mouth during this lesson. So breathe in through your mouth, and then on your exhale, begin to make a p sound. So it would sound something like p, 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 p. And it can be quiet, but just for the whole length of your exhale, you're articulating the p. And the p, your lips come together in the front. And no need to use your vocal cords, your vocal folds. We're just going to be doing this in the mouth. So it's exhaling. It's a little explosion, like something popping. The word pop has that feel of pop, 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 pop. And breathe in through an open mouth, and then pop, 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 pop. And pay attention to the way the air comes out of your lungs as you do this explosion over and over again with the p. You can feel the ribs. It's almost like a staccato feeling in the body as the air comes out with the p. And do your lips work evenly for that? And what are the muscles of your cheek doing as you do that p sound? Do you feel like it's the same on the left side of your mouth and the right side? And then just rest for a moment. Feeling the sensations around your lips and your eyes. And now try doing this p just in the right side of your mouth. So instead of feeling it happening relatively symmetric, try and move it over to the right. So there's two ways of doing this, and either is fine, just do it the same on the left, but my first attempt at doing this to the right, I kind of shifted my jaw a little right, and then the p actually came out on the left side. I don't know if anybody else felt that or did that. Or you can shift your jaw a little to the left, and then the p explosion happens on the right side. And how are you directing that p sound to happen on the right? Is there something in your chest or your belly? Do you shift your weight a little bit? And then try it on the left side. So shift the explosion so they're happening out of the left side of your mouth. For most people, one side's a lot easier than the other. And try alternating once left and once right. And if you can then rest for a moment. I have to tell you a story from 7th grade. In 7th grade, I got glasses, and I put my glasses on and I wore them to school, and I realized everybody in my class had pimples. And I thought, oh my gosh, that means I have pimples. They can see me and they can see my pimples. So I took my glasses off because there was something about seeing other people that made me feel self-conscious about myself. If you have that reaction as you're doing these funny movements with your face and your mouth, just close your eyes. If you don't see other people, they won't see you. Okay. So bring your hands to your mouth, and you're going to grab your top lip between your thumb and your forefinger and bring it up so that it can touch your nose. So I'm thinking of like making the bell shape in a trumpet. I'm working on the top of that, shaping myself to pull it long and then fold it up. Yeah, good. And what happens in the rest of your face as you do that? Is there any sense of compression or engagement around your eyes? Does your jaw respond to that movement? Does your jaw go forward or backward? Open or close? And then make that puh sound again and see if it feels any different. So let go of it, your mouth, before you do the puh sound. But you might feel a little bit more responsiveness from that top lip. And now take your bottom lip and do the same thing. You pinch it and pull it down and kind of make it a little wider as you go. That idea of shaping the bottom half of the trumpet of the bell. Just notice what your jaw and the rest of your face does when you do that. And then do the puh sound again, feeling how your cheeks work. If there's a little bit more cheek action in that puh. And perhaps a sensation of fullness or openness somewhere in your mouth. And work with your breathing to try, so on one breath, it's multiple puh, 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 puh. See if your breath can come out smoothly as you puh, puh, as you puff. And then rest and notice the sensations in your face. Close your eyes. And noticing sensations in the face is interesting because a lot of our face is invisible to us in our sensations for most of the time. But there may be some parts, like it might feel like your jowls are bigger in your mind's eye as you perceive now, or the area around your lips. Next, we're going to play with the t sound. So try and make the t sound and feel, where do you put your tongue to do a series of t, 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 t. So the tip of your tongue starts, it touches the roof of your mouth to do the t. And try doing that on the right side. So instead of touching your mouth, your tongue to the roof in the middle, do it to the side. Which actually makes the sound come out a little more on the left side when you touch your tongue to the right. Okay, so touch with your left index finger, touch the tip of your tongue, and then begin to take your finger and slide it on the right side of your tongue. you notice it's slippery. And how far back? Usually we're comfortable with our hands going just a little bit on the tongue. Then take your finger out and imagine your fingers there and slide it down the right side of your tongue. And our tongues, the root of our tongue is just above the larynx, way back in the throat. So that's why we're doing this imaginary. I don't want anybody to throw up in the class. But you take your imaginary finger and go down the right side of your tongue, back as far back as you can imagine the finger going. And notice how far you can imagine sensation on the tongue. The front of our tongue is very sensitive, and as you go back, it might be harder to sense. And what do you have to do with the rest of yourself to imagine opening your throat in a way that you could touch the right side of your tongue going deeper? It's the way you might find you have to sit or shift your weight to imagine that. And then rest. Rest and breathe and feel if there's a difference in sensation between the right side and the left side of your mouth, of your throat, of your neck. And wiggle your tongue around, like if you wanted to count the teeth, is it easier to count the teeth on your right side or your left side? And then with your fingers, touch the left side of your tongue. Feel what your eyes do as you do that. Do they go back and forth? And then use your imaginary finger to reach back further on the left side of your tongue. You're trying to get the shape of the left side of your tongue as if you wanted to do a sculpture of your tongue, and feeling its texture in your imagination and its height, its thickness, the path it takes as it goes down your throat all the way down just above your voice box. You could imagine sliding something soothing down there, like a lozenge sliding down the left side of your tongue. And imagine sliding this back to the back of the tongue and to the front a few times, that forward and back sensation. And then rest. Close your eyes so you can sense your face more clearly. And sense the space around your tongue. You could try counting the teeth on the left side with your tongue, see if it got a little easier. Sense the curve in your neck. And then let's stand up for a minute, just to, if your sit bones are getting sore from sitting on them, stand up and just wiggle a little bit. It's a lot of intense focus. We need a little break from it. Yeah. Okay. Now open your mouth as far as you can open it. Just see how far you can open your mouth. Okay, good. And close your mouth. Put your hands on your jaw and your elbows together on your chest. And hold your jaw still and open your skull away from your jaw. So look up toward the ceiling. Usually we hold our skull still and open our jaw, and now we're holding this jaw still and opening the skull. Do it a couple times. And it really tips your head back. The whole top of your head tips backward so you can look up. Okay, good. Let go of your chin. And then open your mouth again. And see if it opens a little easier. All right, so we're going to go back to the letter T and do that t-t-t-t-t-t sound. And a T has a little bit of explosion to it. Now we're going to feel the shape of our palate in our mouth. So go to the, if you take your right thumb and put it under your tongue, feel the shape of that opening. There's kind of a down, and you can slide it back along your teeth just to see that the shape of that area of your mouth. And you can take with your thumb in there, take your hand and hold along your jawline. And with these fingers on the outside, feel the shape of the jaw. And so feeling the shape of the inside with the thumb and the outside with the fingers. Just so if you wanted to be a sculptor and sculpt your jaw, you could feel the shape of it. And then take your hand out and just compare sensations left and right. Is there somehow a little bit more openness around the area in the side you were just exploring? Let's do the same thing on the other side. So going under the tongue, feeling the shape of the lower palate, feeling the shape of the jawbone with the outside of the hand. Yeah. And then try the T sound again. And you can feel that palate underneath there where you were just touching is somehow involved in the T sound. And then rest. And close your eyes as you rest. Turn your head just that tiny little bit left or right like we were doing before. And feel if there's some sensation in that palate area that you had never noticed before when you turn your head. Kind of like the space around your tongue opens up a little as the head goes left and right. All right, we've got one more letter to play with, which is the K sound. So like the K in pick or pack. K. Just explore that, play with it for a moment. How do you start and stop the airflow to do that K sound? Is it just your tongue? Or does your soft palate, the top of your mouth, move at the same time that you do the tongue moving? You might feel a little pressure in your nose. And stop that for a sec. And now imagine something sliding along your upper palate. Like your tongue has a lozenge and you're rubbing it all against the surface of the upper palate. So you're imagining something sliding from the top of your upper teeth as far back as you can comfortably slide it in your imagination. How far back does your upper palate go? Try and visualize. When you swallow something, it has to go between the top and the bottom. So it has to go back, down, and around into the beginning of the tube going down. You can imagine sliding something as far back as comfortable in your imagination. And then rest and sense the space in your mouth. There might be more sense toward the room above your tongue in the back. Roll your head a little from side to side and see if something changes in that space when your head turns side to side. And rest for a minute. I love this lesson because with Parkinson's, sometimes as you find your face getting less mobile and the lips and teeth area getting less mobile, and you can see how that impacts the ability to turn your head. Because if you clamp your mouth, kind of grit your teeth, close everything tightly, and try and turn your head, it's sort of not as nice a feeling as when the mouth is softly open and the jaw and the those spaces can move as you're turning. And so this the tension and rigidity in the face can then cause problems in the balance. So it's good to work on the face, just like we work sometimes on the feet, sometimes on the torso, sometimes on the top. The more everything finds that little bit more mobility, then the whole system begins to be a little more fluid again. All right, so now bring the tip of your tongue to the right corner of your mouth. And, oh, actually, wait a sec. Before we do that, let's, when you do the k, where does that happen in your mouth? There's a part of your tongue that goes up to the top palate. Just feel where that is. And experiment with trying to take that place that it goes up to the top and move it back in your mouth a little bit. Like you were almost trying to swallow your k. You know, there's some languages like German and Yiddish that have this ch sound. That's the tongue is back a little further in the mouth to make it. And then see if it's possible to do the k sound a little closer to your front teeth. Then take your tongue and stick it out the corner of the right side of your mouth and make the k sound. What happens in the back of your mouth when you're doing it in this strange way? Where is there an expansion in the back of your mouth? And then pause for a moment and see if the two sides of your mouth feel different, perhaps all the way down into your neck. Maybe even in your eyeballs and your cheek. And then stick your tongue out to the left, trap it between your lips, and do the k sound. Is this side easier or harder than the other? What happens in the back of your mouth on this side? Okay, rest. So did you notice differences between the left and the right? On which side, one side easier to do that? Alternate a few times. So you put your tongue in the left and do a k, and then in the right and do a k. And see if you can find a way to equalize the feelings in the back of your mouth. It's almost that you might feel a difference in the tone, in the volume. And pause for a moment. And inhale, and when you exhale, just let the air come out of the left side of your mouth. And then inhale, and just let the air come out the right side. And alternate a few times between inhaling and letting the air come out on the right and letting it come out on the left. And feel what you feel in your mouth. Is there a change in pressure? Try it with your eyes closed so you can sense more. Feel if there's a different pressure in your eyeballs when you breathe out of the left and the right. If there's a little change in your sit bones or pressure changing in your chest. And then now try a K right in the middle. And see if it's changed in its sensation. Alrighty. So now in the chat, if you click chat at the bottom of their screen, there should be the pick a pack of pretty petunias. And say it to yourself, pick a pack of pretty petunias. And see if there's a different smoothness to it, loudness to it, clarity to it. And I'm going to put you back in breakout rooms just for a couple minutes so that you can hear each other say, pick a pack of pretty petunias. Then we'll come back in about 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm going to open the rooms. And Deborah, I'm going to add you to one because you weren't in one before. Pick a pack of pretty petunias. You finding your way into the rooms? Pretty petunias. Pick a pack of pretty petunias.
Hi, Irene. I'm just getting my work done here. You're muted. You're muted, Irene.
All right. I just invited people to come back from the breakout.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's a good sentence. I was just playing with come back from the breakout rooms, and I feel much more clear in my articulation of coming back from the breakout rooms.
How are you with Peter Piper picked a piece of pickled pepper? Where's the piece of pickled pepper Peter Piper picked, Irene?
I forgot about that one. That one, I'm going to mute everybody and have everybody try maybe Mira, as soon as everybody comes back, we have about 10 more people to come back.
Yeah.
Remind people of that one, and we can all give it a try.
Okay, I'm gonna write it in the chat.
Okay. So I'm gonna mute everybody, and Mira is gonna write in the chat the Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers one. And I never can remember the whole thing. So if you're like me, check it out in the chat and say it out loud with yourself muted, just to hear what it feels like.
We tried it in the chat room. It was a lot harder than the one you had.
Yes. Figured I'd stick to picking pretty petunias. And then I have one or two more really fun, simple variations to play with this. So you could use either one of the two phrases, and I want you to try saying it with your teeth together, but not your lips. So pick some pretty petunias, or you're clenching your teeth and just your lips are moving. And then try it closing your lips, but letting your teeth move. And for these particular sounds, this is pretty difficult, but just do your best to say it with your lips closed. Okay, and then do it one more time with your teeth closed and just your lips. And then let everything work together and say it. So if you're looking for a quick way to recapture the clarity and the articulation of short sounds that we did in this lesson, you can play with it. I like doing Humpty Dumpty that way, or just any nursery rhyme. Do it with your teeth closed, with your lips closed. Could try it with both, teeth and lips clamped together. Yeah, do try that, because that helps you find the sensations deep in your body. So you close your teeth and your lips and say your phrase. You can really feel the changes in the shape in the mouth and in your chest and where you push the air from. And then try it one more time out loud. See if that did any more to it.
There's some more things in the chat that I think Scott just wrote one up, Irene, if you want to give people more.
Big black bug bled black blood. Ooh. Yeah. We'll do another lesson that'll make a bigger difference in the she sells seashells. That'll be next week. We're going to play with that one. But these different lessons work on getting different parts of our mouth and face mobile. And just say, like, what's it like to smile now? It might feel different. Like you might be able to sense what's involved in your face when you smile. Try doing it closing your eyes. Again, that way you don't have to see people. Alrighty. Any comments that people would like to share with the big group? I'll unmute yourself and talk. Marilyn, you've got something to say? Let me unmute you.
If you're going to be here next week.
Am I, or are you?
Tuesday and Thursday. Are you going to have the class on
Yes.
Tuesday and Thursday next week?
Yes, we will have class next week.
Okay.
We'll be providing this programming, I think, all through next month. So it's just wonderful. I'm so happy to see everyone enjoying the class. And Irene, thank you for the amazing job that you're doing.
You're welcome. And yeah, any comments about today's lesson? And then before we go, Mira has an announcement she wants to make about another wonderful program that's happening. And I'm curious, on a scale of 5, I like these voice lessons as much as I like the lessons that are specifically on balance, and 0 being, I'd really rather you go back to the big lessons that are on balance. So 5 is like, keep doing some more voice lessons, and you could do any number of fingers in between. Okay.
Seems like we need a mixture of.
We'll do some mixture, so a little bit of some of both.
Yeah. It's a good thing that you're here twice a week, right? So maybe you could do one. So I just wanted to let you all know that you'll be able to go to Eventbrite and look up Dr. Karen Duncan's webinar tomorrow on Parkinson's and naturopathic medication, natural medication. Please sign up. It's a wonderful presentation.